Paula Burke. I'm the head of school of the UCD School of Biosystems and Food Engineering. And what we really hope to achieve today is just an overview of our taught masters programs, primarily our 1 year and our 2 year taught masters programs. Laura, can you see, just let me know that those slides are sharing
You're all
correctly?
good to go.
Okay, thanks very much. So, okay, there we go. Lovely. So just a little introduction to the school. We are really, a lot of the programs that we're going to discuss today are really surrounding different aspects of sustainability or green technologies implementation across the food and biosystems engineering space. Our core areas within the school are in biosystems engineering, the bioeconomy and green energy, environmental and agricultural technologies, and then biosystems analysis and the modelling and the data use that comes from that then as well. The programs that we're really going to focus on today are the 2 year ME, Biosystems and Food Engineering, where Ronald is our program director. We have then a sequence of 4 1 year taught masters programs, which are Sustainable Energy and Green Technology, Digital Technologies for Sustainable Agriculture, Environmental Technology, and then our MNGSC in Food Engineering. So you'll get an opportunity to interact with each of those program directors a little bit later on as well. You know, we do hope that you choose to apply and join us within the School of Biosystems and Food Engineering. But what you get then when you get here, obviously we've got a Parkland campus. It's really lovely. But when you arrive to our school, we do host a local induction for all of our new arrivals. We go through each of your modules and what the expectations are in detail for each of those. We kind of will give you a tour and an induction of the laboratory facilities and the teaching facilities that you would use during your year of study with us. We have across the range of the modules within each of the programs has lots of different experiential learning opportunities. So we have field trips, we have a range of industry visits, and they're slightly different for each of the programs to be appropriate to the learning outcomes for each of those programs. But one of the most important things that we do, particularly for the 1 year taught masters programs, because they're 1 year, and we get asked this a lot, can we provide an internship or can we provide a work placement within the context of a 1 year program? That is not a feasibility. However, what we do is we provide a dedicated, extensive module on research, teaching, and career skills development. And this really focuses on introducing you to a wide range of career supports that are relevant to gaining employment whilst you're with us. We give you the training whilst you're with us and encourage you and enable you to apply for roles within Ireland and abroad, and the specific skill sets that you might need to attain employment in this region as well. Each student then also does a wide range of projects as part of their experiential learning, and there's different types of assessments and different things to drive your learning, whether that's individual or in groups. And everybody has an opportunity to do a research thesis, and we have a wide range of extremely highly qualified research faculty, and they and their teams provide a lot of opportunities to embed your research project within a research team that's operational within the school. We are a relatively small school, so we have the ability to host whole school events where everybody is invited to attend, and it kind of gives a bit more of a social dimension and a good opportunity to ask questions, but also meet people from other class groups. We utilise and encourage the use of the UCD global resources a lot, and we have a very good working relationship and use of those resources, as well as all of the wider UCD college and school level supports. So just with a focus on the 1 year master's programs, for each of those programs, and indeed for the 2 year programs, any graduates, international graduates, are entitled to a 2 year stay back visa. There are a wide range of scholarships available. I'm not going to go into those today. But one of the things that we have found in recent years, we've done a project to establish the outcomes for each of our graduates from our 1 year taught masters programs. And we're now in the position to reveal that over 96% of our graduates are now in employment or in further study. The figures break down to 87.5% of those graduates are now in employment, and approximately 9% of them are in further study. and around 3.5% of people are still seeking employment. But that's pretty normal because people change roles from time to time anyway. The type of data, so it breaks down like this. Where our graduates are finding employment is that very, very many of them, as you can see from this graph, are finding employment in Ireland. So the value of that stay back visa, I suppose, is apparent in these outcomes for our graduates over the last, and this is since 2020. This data is since 2020, up until the end of 2024. Around just shy of 15% of our graduates are going on to employment in international regions, excuse me, not including Europe, and then approximately 6 to 7% of them are finding employment within Europe, but not in Ireland. So there's over 80% of the students are in a position to utilise their stay back visa and stay with us in Ireland. Apologies. So the different roles that people are going into, we've also tracked those, and approximately 40% of the roles are in an engineering domain. Around 25% of those are in quality and compliance roles. Around 15% of those are in research and development, and around 8% each in management or leadership roles or in academic roles. And the different areas that each of these students kind of can go into, a lot of them, they reflect the titles of the programs. They're in sustainability and environmental roles, energy, research and development. Some people do go into the pharmaceutical industry, and some people go into the infrastructure side of the engineering sector as well. This slide and these slides will be shared afterwards kind of shows an overview of some of the top employers of our graduates over the last 5 to 6 years. So it just gives you a flavour, I suppose, of some of the companies where you could potentially find employment after a year's study with us. These are just some images, I suppose, of some of those whole school events that we're in a position to host, and the field trips, etc., that we engage in. So I'm going to stop sharing there. I'm going to pass the presentation on to my colleagues who are going to go through each of their programs in a little bit more detail, and we'll stay on in case there's any questions there towards the end. So thanks very much for your attention.
Great. Really, thank you so much, Paula. A great overview of your school, which is brilliant. So we are going to hand over now to our program directors for the various programs within the school to give you an overview of their various programs. So we're going to hand over now to Associate Professor Ronald Hylam, who is the program director for our 2-year program, our ME in Biosystems and Food Engineering.
Thanks for that, Laura. So I do have a presentation. Just let me share. All right. All right. Can everyone see my presentation there?
Yeah, you're all good.
Yep, thanks, Laura. So, morning, everyone. My name is Ronald. I'm an associate professor here at the School of Biosystems and Food Engineering. I specialize in a new feedstock for food engineering called microalgae, which I'm very happy to talk about if anyone has queries on that. And I'm the program director for Master of Engineering, ME in Biosystems and Food Engineering. So the ME in Biosystems and Food Engineering is a 2-year full-time program that's equivalent to 120 ECTS. It provides engineering graduates with the opportunity to deepen their knowledge in the design and application of sustainable biological systems in novel food process engineering and feedstocks such as microalgae, waste and wastewater management, bioenergy, sustainability, and circular economy. It is an Engineers Ireland accredited program, which means that when you graduate from the ME, you are then eligible to apply for chartership upon further employment. And as part of the program, we offer 6 to 8 months of professional work experience with one of UCD's partners, industry partners, which we will help you to secure as you're enrolled in the program. So the structure of the program itself, as I mentioned, is a 2-year program. In the first year, you take different types of modules associated with bioprocess engineering, water and wastewater engineering, unit operations for bioprocess engineering. But then in the spring and summer trimester of the first year, that's where you actually embark on the work experience program. In the second year, you progress, you return back to UCD to complete the academic program, and you take further modules such as waste to energy process, food process engineering, as well as professional engineering management and finance, and then you also complete your thesis in parallel. So through this comprehensive program, you will then be able to achieve all of the learning outcomes that's needed for to meet the accreditation requirements for Engineers Ireland. That's both in terms of the knowledge and systems process and systems knowledge, as well as in terms of the actual professional skill development. So, in ter the thesis itself will take place in stage two, and that normally takes place over 8 months, split in 2 trimester, and that allows you to develop critical thinking as well as specialized research skills. And students will choose a project from a list of nominated projects, and you can actually do your thesis either on UCD campus or even in our partners at Chagas Ashton Food Research Center or UCD Lions Farm. Now, some of the examples of the thesis that students have carried out includes things like effect of fermentation types on grass quality, and then different types of brewery wastewater treatment using microalgae, and then as well as making caviar from microalgae. So these are just some of the pictures there. One of our students currently completing this project. She's grown microalgae on the photobioreactor, checks that everything looks nice under the microscope, and then she formulates caviar from the microalgae that she grows herself. And the idea here is that to use microalgae as a mimic of caviar product as a novel food ingredient. One of our students, for example, Yu Chen, he graduated from our ME project, and then he was then awarded a Chinese Scholarship Council's CSC scholarship to then progress and complete his PhD in our school. So that just shows one of our potential outcome, which is continuing within the school to complete a PhD program. And he has recently completed this PhD as well, and now he's a postdoctoral scientist at UCD. So we try to retain our talents as much as possible. And in terms of the professional work experience, so this happens in the first year of your particular in the spring and summer trimester of your first year in the ME program. That's around 6 to 8 months or equivalent to 30 weeks of professional work experience. It is a compulsory part of the program structure, and it's worth 30 ECTS and will provide you with hands-on experience to apply the knowledge that you developed in class to real-world engineering problems, as well as developing communication and teamwork skills. It is generally paid, and students secure both national as well as overseas placement with the support of the internship managers at UCD. So just to give you some of the companies that our students have worked with for their work experience, these are food and beverage companies such as Royal Oak Distillery and Glanbia, consulting companies such as PM Group, nutrition such as Abbott's, research Chagas, bioenergy. So this is an AD operator in County Kildare, Green Generation, as well as pharmaceutical companies such as Sanofi. And finally, in terms of career opportunities, as I mentioned before, from an example from one of our examples, Yu Chen, he carried out a PhD after his master's program, but the majority of our students actually found employment in Ireland post completion of their master's program. So they all go to companies spanning from food and beverage, such as Royal Oak Distillery, Guinness, environmental protection and waste recycling, such as Irish Water, as well as Rowan Consulting, and then bioenergy and green technology, such as Chagas, and then finally also medical and pharmaceutical companies such as Abbott and Takeda. Now, some of them have also pursued PhD internationally. So we have a couple of students who made it to Michigan State University for their PhD post completion of the ME program. And I think I had some career opportunity highlight here, but I think Paula has presented a much more comprehensive profile on this. But I just want to highlight one of our students, for example, Rahul here. He actually carried out his placement or his research, his work experience in Royal Oak Distillery as and because the company was so impressed by his performance, he was actually immediately hired post completion of his program to then become a maintenance systems coordinator. So sometimes the actual work experience provided a pathway for your employment afterwards. And in terms of scholarship opportunities, there are UCD Global Excellence Scholarship, UCD International Student Scholarships, and I'm pretty sure Laura can provide further information on that. So thank you so much, and that's the end of my presentation. Happy to address any queries after this. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ronald. Really great presentation. So we are going to move on now, and we're going to have Professor Kevin MacDonald, who is the Program Director for our one-year program in Sustainable Energy and Green Technology.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate that. And hello to everybody who's online with us. So as our head of school has explained, I run the Masters in Sustainable Energy and Green Technology. It's a one-year 90 credit Thought Masters program starting in September and finishing the following August. And really, this program is designed around helping students get the skills to address the challenges globally of energy, resource, and environmental challenges that we're trying to address. The student intake tend to come from science or technology background as well as engineering. So we don't require students to have a BE or an engineering qualification coming into it. A science technology background is the basic requirement, and then we'll build on that through that one-year program. Within the program, we'll deal with modules such as life cycle assessment, wastewater treatment, life cycle applications. As Professor Paula Burke has referred to, we do the teaching and research skills to help prepare you for interviews and for job applications as well. Within our program, the thesis, which makes up 30 of the 90 credits, is a really important component. As previously mentioned, for these one-year programs, we don't do a industry placement, but on the thesis module, which runs throughout your entire 12-month program with us, we do give you the opportunities to work with various companies. So we've gone out to the industry, we've discussed various challenges with the industry, and they provide us with specific tasks that they would like us to address and to work on. And we can develop a thesis project around that. So, for example, one of the companies that you saw on our head of school slides, Trifol, they have 3 of our students working with them at the moment. This week, I've done 3 reference letters for our current students who will be completing during the summer, but already they've been asked to do reference letters for job applications. So they've been called to interview. They've got the second stage of interviews, and now we're doing the reference checks for them. So companies are interested in our students. And as we've heard already, the opportunities are really based around the environment sustainability area. The locations are both national and international, so students are getting offered opportunities to work with energy and sustainability companies on an international profile as well. So international companies working here, but that gives them an opportunity then to work with that company beyond the current infrastructure projects that they're working on. So for us, students who come to us, we probably have between 20 and 30 students on the masters. At the moment, we have 35 students on this program from a wide range of backgrounds who are progressing well in the program. It's a great opportunity to mix with other students, to get a wide exposure to the skill sets within the School of Biosystems and Food Engineering, and help you address the challenges going forward, such as how do we deal with where our energy is going to come from internationally? So what types of energy should we be looking at? What are the regulations around that? How does that tie into our use of resources, both nationally and internationally? The case studies that we utilize within the modules help students identify with how we address these challenges. So for example, how have companies solved problems? Again, using the international space. And it opens their eyes to different techniques and different ideas that companies are using, so that when you go to the interview process, you're really well placed to try and deal with some of the innovative actions that companies need to take in order to address both the sustainable development goals that they're facing, but also the sustainability challenges, to see how can we produce our products in a more sustainable way? How do we use energy in a more sustainable way? How do we use our water in a more sustainable way? So within our program, these are the key challenges that we try to address, and they're the skills that we will bring within the masters to give you the opportunities to work in those areas going forward. The links have been provided to you to our various master's programs, But if you have any specific questions, I'm really happy to stay on and to chat to anybody who has specific questions after all of the presentations. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate that. So we're going to move on now to Associate Professor Tom Curran, who is the Program Director for our program in Environmental Technology.
Thanks, Laura. I'm just going to speak briefly about the environmental technology program. So there are some overlaps and some core modules across some of the programs that have been mentioned already in the ME program, also with the Sustainable Energy and Green Technology program that you've just heard about. And in terms of environmental technology, I would say it's quite a broad program across the key impacts on air, soil, and water, and some unique aspects of it compared to some of the other programs that there's more of a focus on water and wastewater engineering, for example. And there's also a broad-based GIS module, practical applications in ArcGIS. In terms of careers then, you've heard about them already. So opportunities to work in the waste management sector across industry, also public bodies and consultancy practices. So, for example, one graduate from the past couple of years, because he had taken that GIS module, he got a job in Dublin in a company where they were assessing areas of Ireland which would be suitable for wind energy, and then he subsequently got a similar type role abroad in Canada. So that's just one example of a successful graduate outcome, and you've heard a number of other examples previously. Another thing I just want to highlight as well across all of our programs, that we're very strong in the area of bioeconomy, which is about the sustainable use of biological resources from farming, food production, forestry, and the marine. And just to show how Ireland is a leader in this area as well, Dublin is hosting the Global Bioeconomy Summit in October 2026 here in Ireland, and our university and our school indeed will have a big role to play in terms of participating and also organizing workshops and site visits as part of that. So just want to give you a flavor of the environmental technology program at this stage, and I'll hand back now to Laura.
Great. Thank you so much, Tom. Really appreciate that. So we're going to move on now to Dr. Dimitrios Argyropoulos, who is the Program Director for our program in sorry, in digital agriculture and sustainability.
Just I found it now. Okay, just it's 3 seconds to start to share my screen as well. I have prepared some slides. Welcome everyone. Thank you, Laura, for the brief introduction and the organization of this webinar today. Yes, very brief overview about the MSc on Digital Technology for Sustainable Agriculture, that I'm the academic director. This degree program is a highlight. Actually, this degree program is one of the first in the world to integrate data science and cutting-edge digital technology into agriculture. And our students take modules with learning outcomes aimed at providing fundamental skills required by modern technology companies in agriculture. This program, as said, is targeted towards providing students with cutting-edge training in technology, digital technology areas that include a number of modules like computer programming, data processing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robotics, and drone technology included, and also offer hands-on experience on a range of a novel digital technology, training in state-of-the-art labs and applied research in real-life environment at the Lions Research Farm and other farms in close proximity of UCD. Is 1 year full-time program. Now, about the course content and structure, we offer modules on computer programming, but not generic ones, targeted to solve practical problems in the wider agriculture. From software, we move to hardware. We offer also modules on computers and electronics in agriculture. The students will be learning, experiencing how to develop, deploy, and use computers or electronics for farm deployment. Artificial intelligence, as I said, students will learn how to train deep learning models for agricultural applications like automated weeding, harvesting, very labor intensive work. Also, modules on Internet of Things like IoT devices and sensors to enable sustainable agriculture and food production. A suite of sensors and sensing systems they will be able to use to design, operate wireless systems using Arduino technology, for example, remote sensing and GIS for decision making as well. And then we have also a very large portfolio of technology-oriented or technology-focused modules like hyperspectral imaging, it's frequently used in agriculture, or soil technology or crop technology modules, or other optical sensing technology modules, and of course, solutions around precision agriculture and precision livestock management. In other words, you understand that we cover holistically the whole domain of sustainability or efficiency in agriculture. Now, all our modules are delivered mainly face to face. Therefore, students get great experience of campus life, interaction with academics, with classmates. We also include other formats like intensive or online tutorials. And last but not least, as in the other courses as well, students will undertake an applied work-related research project during the summer trimester, and the students will be also exposed to technologies, not only theory, but also we will learn and will be exposed on state-of-the-art or novel robotic systems, drone technology. They will model or deploy image-based sensors. Having said that, I need also here to highlight that we have one of the best labs in Ireland on digital technologies, on smart sensors, and also how to teach deep learning and artificial intelligence concepts for agriculture. Few pictures from previous years where students went out and started programming and operating a drone. They really enjoyed this experience. As I said, very hands-on. Also, they're exposed on state-of-the-art and novel experiential learning approaches like the farming simulator software. It's a futuristic method of learning precision agriculture principles. Very interactive as well, experiential learning method, very interactive sessions with student presentations, student collaborations, she's smiling faces. Now, digital agriculture, I would say, belongs to the wider IT domain, and Ireland is home to the world's top 10 technology companies, and is also known as the IT capital of Europe. In other words, big companies are located here in Dublin and Cork in Ireland in general. And all these big tech companies that all of us know, like Google, like Apple, have already entered farming and food industries. Therefore, our students have excellent job opportunities. Just to give you an example, with more than 1,000, 5,000 job vacancies in this sector at present. And the graduate of our course may find employment opportunities in the following agricultural focused areas like machinery. We all of us aware of John Deere, for example, or precision farming companies, or decision support in agriculture, more data-driven services, or IoT and predictive analytics, like now, IBM or Microsoft have specific departments on data-driven solutions in this domain. Also, there are plenty of startups in this domain as well, where our graduates can find excellent job opportunities. Last but not least, to highlight also that as school, we are very research intensive. Therefore, our students are always being exposed to outcomes of European international collaborations on ICT-enabled agri-food systems or on projects on digital farming. We are currently leading also a project in this domain on agri-food robotics, on AI and digital technologies, and always expose our students to these outcomes. Great. That's it from my side. Thank you very much for your attentions, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thanks again.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Demetrius. And then our last academic we have up is Professor Enda Cummins, who is the Program Director for our one-year program in Food Engineering.
Thanks very much, Laura. Can you confirm just the slides are showing there?
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, thanks very much. So my name is Enda Cummins. I'm a professor in the UCD School of Biosystems Engineering, and I'm the Program Director for the Masters in Food Engineering. So I just have a small few slides just to introduce the Masters program and what it entails. What is it about? Well, the objective is to educate scientists in the scientific and technological aspects of food manufacturing and food processing. So very much focused on the whole processing sector, the whole food sector, dealing with the whole aspects going from production, processing, technological aspects, and also some of the environmental impacts of the food production process as well. So it provides a comprehensive coverage of bioprocess and food manufacturing systems and a broad knowledge of engineering technologies involved in food production, food processing. Some of the different key aspects are highlighted there, including food and bioprocess engineering, risk assessment, food safety aspects as well, process development and control, advanced manufacturing systems, and associated environmental issues with that as well. So, you don't produce food without having some environmental impacts, and that is something that's looked at as well as part of the program. So it's the only food engineering program in Ireland, and we have a long history of running this program in our school, and we've been running it for over 25 years. So a long history, successful history in terms of running this program. In terms of the structure, so it's 60 credits of modules that are taken in semesters 1 and 2. So that's the spring and autumn trimesters. And then the remaining 30 credits is taken as part of a year-long minor thesis. In the similar way that the other one-year programs have already advised you, it's the same situation for this program where you would do a thesis project on a research topic of interest related to the food industry, relating to food manufacturing, food processing, food safety aspects. And as part of that, you're allocated an academic supervisor, depending on the topic you select, and also a student mentor to assist you in that particular project. So the central theme is food processing, balanced with modules on personal development and environmental implications of the food industry as well. I think a key part of the personal development is also the sort of mock interview and job application process, which again is common across all our master's programs, that we would carry out some mock interviews. We bring in people from industry to participate in that as well, where students would submit to a mock job application, and they get feedback on that as well. So that's not unique to this master's, but across all our master's programs that you would have heard of today. Computer literacy is also a key element throughout the program. As you've already heard, we are a highly research-intensive school. We're one of the most research-intensive schools in the university, and I think that ensures, high practical and contemporary learning experience from professors who have a lot of experience in industry and with a lot of research projects. State-of-the-art facilities in terms of novel process technology, spectroscopy, hyperspectral imaging, and bioreactors as well in the school. A lot of money has been invested in those particular areas. So the teaching is face to face, all face to face, where we have lectures, tutorials, hands-on laboratory practicals, and individual and team projects as part of that as well. And as I said already, as part of the project, student mentors can be allocated to help students as part of their research thesis as well. In terms of the sector itself, I mean, no one is insulated from the food industry in Ireland. It's the largest indigenous industry. The output with over 14 billion per annum. A lot of that is exported. 45% is exported. And I would always say to students that people will always have to eat. It's something we all have to do. We all require nutrition, healthy, wholesome food. And because of that, there will always be opportunities for graduates with a food-related qualification. We need graduates there to ensure that the food is correctly produced, manufactured, and processed to high standards for consumers. So there will always be opportunities there for people with the knowledge that can feed into that. So just a snapshot of some of our past graduates. You would have already seen some of the data presented by our head of school, but just some specifically from the food engineering and where they've ended up. For example, Ranlu is working in Nestle, working in a nutritional area. Rebecca Mary Rebello is a global excellence scholar actually, and is in Avino Foods currently. And Raj Morris is a graduate again of the food engineering program, working in Dairygold. Just a snapshot of some of the feedback that they provided on a wider scale. Just some of the employers across the program have included, as you see there, Diageo, Nestle, some well-known sort of food-producing companies, Dairygold, Superquinn, Tirlawn, for example, but also some of the companies and employers that would also look at environmental aspects of the food industry, including the EPA, project management, APV, Board Namona, for example, Jones Environment. So kind of a broad collection, I suppose, of employers from the program. So that's just a quick snapshot of the program, some of the employers, and what's involved in it. I'm happy to take any questions at the end. So back to you, Laura.
That's great. Thank you so much, Enda, and thank you to all our speakers, our program directors, for giving insights into your relevant programs. So we are going to move on now to our Q&A session. So as I said at the start, if you do have questions, please feel free to type them in the bottom of your screen. There's a Q&A button there. Please type the questions in there, and we'll get through as many as we can in the time that we have left. Just to highlight that if you do have questions that relate to a specific application that you have made, my colleague Katie will pop her email address and my email address in the chat, so you can reach out to us directly after the session today, just if it's around a specific question related to your application. And don't forget to send in your application ID in that email, so we'll know how to find you on our system. But other than that, we have a couple of questions here. So I'm going to fire off the first one to yourself, Kevin. It's just related to sustainable energy and green technologies. Does this program in particular cover some aspects of agroecology, I think is the question?
Okay, not specifically on agroecology. We do look at biological resources, using the resources as a source of energy. And also, as other program directors have mentioned, the utilization of waste bioresources back into the energy system, but not agroecology.
Laura, may I comment
Yep,
on that?
please do. Yep.
Because in digital technology, we offer aspects of agroecology through digital technologies. Like, as I said before, automated weeding, that is part of agroecology treatment.
Great, perfect, thank you. And then Demetrius, I'll stick with yourself. This person
Yeah,
is, they have applied for our Digital Technology to Sustainable Agriculture program, your program, and they would like to know if it's possible to engage with research projects as a master's taught student,
absolutely.
and
Yes.
maybe
And
if it's part of the
sure,
thesis.
absolutely. And I encourage that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then for anyone who is joining us today and interested, maybe Demetrius, you could explain, or anyone else could jump in. How does that research project work? Do students pick up their own topics? Are they assigned topics? Are they supported? And how does that research project aspect of our courses work?
May Enda may answer that question because it's more
Yes,
like about the school. Yeah.
yes, certainly. So at the start of the year, we collate a selection of thesis topics. So each PI, including all the program directors that you see online at the moment, will provide a list of topics. Usually, they would typically link in with research projects, so sort of linking in with the previous question. They typically are aligned with existing research projects that the PIs, that the professors will be working on. So a list of topics would be provided at the start of the year, and students would look through the lists, and hopefully there's something to meet everyone's desire, if you like. There's also an option in there for students' own choice. So even if in the list there's something that doesn't particularly take your fancy or that you don't like, you can also suggest your own topic. And then we would look to allocate a suitable supervisor to that particular topic. So it's important that we match, if you like, the project to the expertise of the professors. So in brief, a list is provided at the start, which typically aligns with the professor's research background and also active research projects that the professors will be engaged in. The students then would make their selection based on that and in consultation with the relevant professor as well.
Perfect. I think that's a great comprehensive answer. Very clear, Enda. Thank you so much. Demetrius, there was just someone wanting to know maybe a bit more about the research projects for your particular program. Maybe you can explain
Absolutely.
some of that
Yes.
has happened in the last couple of years.
Sure. Just to give you some examples of projects, can be students can work with drone technology to model a drone, acquire data, analyze data, visualize those data, and write reports. Also to model or work with a robot. Other projects include automated crop growth monitoring systems using deep learning approaches. In other words, they will train deep learning model using data gathered by themselves in a farm. Few examples, or using Arduino type sensors for monitoring temperature and humidity in a farm or in a control environment agriculture unit. Few examples of digital technology of projects offered by the masters, I would say.
Perfect. Thank you, Demetrius. Kevin, for yourself, for sustainable energy and green tech, is a PhD program available to pursue after maybe a student has done this particular program with yourself?
Hi, Laura. Yes, indeed it is. But it depends on the funding. I mean, as academics, we're always applying for funding. So depending on the success of the funding at any point in time, we may have PhD opportunities available to our students, and they will be made available of those throughout the year. Currently, we are advertising a number of PhD positions. So, it depends on the availability of funding for it. One thing I might just briefly add to the comment on the thesis projects, because they are quite important, is that not all of our projects are lab-based. We give students the opportunity to work on desk-based projects as well. So, for example, if they were looking to model energy flows within a building, or developing what a microgrid would look like, how would you integrate residential apartments with an energy user? So we get students to kind of think about their areas of interest. As Enda said, if there's somebody really interested in solar energy, okay, we're not going to build a solar energy farm, but maybe you think about how you might use it and the dynamics of using it and the applications of it as well. So we're very flexible in how we meet the students' needs on the project interests, and that might lead to a PhD if we have funding available for them.
Brilliant, thank you. And then there was a second part of this question, and again, Demetrius, you might jump in because you were talking about agri-ecology. Does that delve into using technology in permaculture specifically? Someone was asking.
Can be as a project, can be a topic of a thesis of a project. Absolutely, yes. Nothing against, yes.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
And just relates to that one, Laura, we did have a project using drone technology in orchards to look at weed identification within orchards. So that was a PhD project, but it kind of tied into some of the skill sets that Demetrius has talked about earlier. So it kind of uses students maybe working with one academic, but they'll build on some of the skills with other academics as well. So we have that opportunities for students to cross learn from other staff members as well.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kevin. And then this is not any particular program, but just maybe across the board, if anyone wants to jump in, what is the average class size for your program and a student to faculty ratio, if you know that?
So I can start, but maybe Enda or Paul might continue to it either. So at the moment, as we mentioned, we combine a lot of our master students where they're relevant into specific modules, as both Tom mentioned as well. So sustainable energy, for example, that's taken by the environmental program as well. So in that class at the moment, we have 43, 44 students in it this year at the moment. Other modules that are very specific to the energy only students, there may be 30 of students in that particular class. So it does vary. It really does depend because we like to expose the students to other thought master students who are working in our school as well. So to get them to mix and to meet with other students as well. It's part of that whole school integration that our head of school referred to. So it will vary, Laura. The student size in each class varies from particular module to different modules. So there's no fixed size. And also we have students from across the university who take some of our modules as an elective. So you might have somebody from physics or chemistry or biology sitting beside you taking the module as well.
Brilliant. I think that's a great answer to that one. Thank you, Kevin. And then again, not specific to a particular program, but just how often is the curriculum updated to reflect new environmental technologies or regulations that are going on, I suppose?
Well, on our side, pretty much every year because it's changing so much. Even what's happened the last couple of weeks with regard to oil prices, that's going to change, for example, the sustainability of some of our energy systems. So yeah, it just changes all the time.
Brilliant. Anyone else wanted to comment
Well,
I
I think that's, sorry, Paula, go on ahead.
I just hop in there in that in terms of equipment and infrastructure available for each of the modules and the research projects, the school has engaged over the last 5 years in an upgrade and expansion of processing technology, analytical technology, data capture, data processing technology. So there's a huge diversity of very up-to-date equipment available and infrastructure available to support each of the modules. And then every year, modules and programs are updated to integrate, what we have available as a school into those modules. So once we get it, it's really implemented into students' learning straight away.
Brilliant. Yeah, and then Demetrius, one for digital technology for sustainable agriculture. I think you touched on it a little bit in your presentation, just that someone's asking about the interdisciplinary nature of the program.
Absolutely, it is an interdisciplinary master's program. As I said earlier, we have integrated, probably is the only one in the world that we have integrated data science into agriculture. Therefore, we cover aspects of digital technology, engineering, computer science, data-driven applications, and we embedded those into agriculture to solve agricultural problems, let's say. Yes, it's an interdisciplinary program.
Brilliant. And then Ronald, I might just ask yourself one because you're with the 2-year program. So obviously your program in particular has an internship as part of the program. Could you explain a little bit more how students go about securing that placement and how that kind of works for students?
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for that, Laura. So with the internship program, what we normally do is that we liaise very closely with the internship managers here at UCD, and during that liaison, what we do is that we have a history of different companies or different industry partners that our students have previously interned with. So the students will be presented with those as the first option. But of course, we also then provide students with additional options based on our existing partnership or collaborations with other companies or with new companies as well. And if the students have a particular interest in a specific company, we can also potentially approach that together with the students. So it's a lot of consultation and discussion between the UCD internship managers, myself as the program director, and the student in terms of securing that placement or that work experience. So the work experience itself takes place for 6 months roughly, starting from the spring trimester of the first year. And as soon as the student gets to their first semester in autumn of the first year, we actually begin the work experience, let's call it hunting, programmed with the student in close connection with the internship manager to try to secure that placement with the student. Now, I think throughout the ME history, there has been I think almost all of our students secure placement or in for the spring trimester. But in the case that there is some sort of an issue in securing a placement, we do have a backup module where the students, instead of completing 6 months of placement, they can secure a shorter period of placement, but still, and then take additional modules uh, throughout the spring trimester to make up for the shorter placement. So there is kind of a safety backup in the case that that the student didn't secure that placement. Having said that, I think there has only been one student in the whole history where we apply that. I think the majority of students secure placement on time for the full 6 months period there. Thanks, Laura.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ronald. I think the last question that we have here, it came in, Demetrius, when you were talking, so I'm guessing it might be for yourself. Are there going to be any AR machine learning integrated modules within your program, or if anyone else's program, if anyone wants to join
Absolutely.
in?
And this is really unique because what we have done in this master program is to use AI or deep learning models as a tool. Therefore, the students will learn how to design, develop, and deploy deep learning and AI for agricultural purposes.
Perfect. That's
And
great.
can I just add to that in that I suppose AI as a technology is also integrated from this year onwards across a wide range of modules because it supports a lot of the research techniques, a lot of the uh, using data, finding data, etc., and different resources utilizes AI. So we have it integrated into a lot of the support modules. But then specifically, there are technology, AI-oriented technology modules evolving within each of the programs as well.
That's great. Thank you. And then another question that just came in was for sustainable energy and green technologies. They're looking forward to starting the program in September. So congratulations and welcome. They just wanted to know if there's opportunity to collaborate with professors or staff on ongoing projects or assistantships, research collaborations, funded research projects, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's opportunities to collaborate on our existing projects. We would welcome that and we would encourage it where it suits the student. And it depends on the student's interest. They may have a very specific area that they want to focus on, and that's absolutely fine. But where we have ongoing projects, we do encourage students to work with the team and to get some exposure to the types of research that we're undertaking.
Perfect. And then I'm just going to stick with yourself, Kevin. Someone's asking about potential softwares that you might use within the program for sustainable energy and green tech.
Yeah, there's one in particular that we use, which is Homer, which is supplied under license through UCD to you. So as a registered student, you get access to use it. And we use that for doing energy modeling within opportunities of combining different energy types and technologies. So you want to combine a coal power plant with a renewable energy wind farm. You can look at how you might balance the load sharing across it and apply it to a particular location. So it's one that we would use quite a bit as an example to allow our students to kind of play around with different technologies.
Perfect. That's great. So I think we've come to the end of our webinar today. That's all the open questions that we have. So unless any other questions come in, I think we'll call it there. So just to let you know, if you do have follow-up questions after today or would like any additional resources or again any information on an application, my colleague Katie did pop our email addresses in the chat, so make sure to grab those before we end it. And then just to let you know that the session is recorded, that will be available on our YouTube channel. And other than that, we really appreciate you joining us for the session, engaging with us via questions, and a big thank you to our speakers for all your great insights into the program and answering those questions as well. So enjoy the rest of your day. Really appreciate you joining us. Bye.
Thank you.